There's no place else even remotely like it. Everything great and all the world's ills, all in one glorious, messed up, magical, maddening, magnificent city. Beirut. It's good to be back.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder.
The Mediterranean Sea itself trembles. The ground shakes beneath the wheels of our heavy metal thunder. Back in Beirut, after all these years. The first time I was here did not end well, but it made no difference to me. I love it here. In spite of everything, I love it here.
Nice ride. Woo! It's a good way to see Beirut.
This is very similar to that place we went to years ago, Baba. This is
Right.
Rizik. This is your, traditional chicken sandwich, shawarma.
Deep fried, roasted.
The broasted chicken was this guy's idea. My British Lebanese friend, born to be wild Ramsey Short, who I met back in those bad old days of 2006. Apparently, he's in with the Lebanese chapter of the Harley-Davidson Group, or HOG for short.
So when you roll into some religiously conservative village on these monster bikes and leather jackets, what's the reaction?
Two types. Once we were greeted with rice from the balconies, like they thought we were like a wedding or something really nice. And the other extreme was stones, like at the wheels, like just get out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw stones at people on Harleys. Oh, look at this.
Let's dig in.
And that'll work.
Yeah, this is a famous neighborhood of the city.
This area, it was central during the Civil War, this
Yeah.
place.
The sheer volume of fire that was poured into some of these buildings is absolutely unbelievable.
So much fire and so many battles happened in the same place over
and over and over again. Clearly.
I notice this every time someone visiting the city, they just point at them.
Well,
Oh, look at that. But, we don't see them anymore. We just pass by them.
Beirut, seemingly the world in miniature. 18 religious sects recognized. More than 2 million Christians, over 1.5 million Shiites, 1.5 million Sunni, nearly 500,000 Palestinians, and now, by some estimates, as many as 2 million Syrians, all living and somehow getting along, kind of, in a country the size of Connecticut. But along its borders, the country has what you might call serious neighbor issues. ISIS in Syria threatening to expand its so-called caliphate into Lebanon.
ISIS, in many ways, is something we've never really seen before. A really large, well-organized, well-equipped terrorist army. Lebanon's been absorbing refugees for nearly 2 years now. The country simply can't take any more.
A quarter of Lebanon's population is now Syrian. That is the equivalent of the US taking in 83 million Syrians.
This could be spiraling, and as you said, the real fear is the violence across the border in Syria, the civil war now spilling over into its already fragile neighbor, Lebanon.
Beirut struggles to put a lid on the simmering sectarian tensions.
Aftermath of that bombing in Beirut, as well as some of the clashes that took place.
Exchanges of gunfire between Sunni and Shia. 2 Palestinian brothers were shot.
Here, block by block, you see the scars from the 15-year civil war that only ended in the 90s. But also nightclubs, discos, beaches, bikinis, where much of the Arab world comes to let their hair down. It is an incongruous mix.
All of this is just playing into people's fears. The violence is just beginning.
The Burj Al Barajneh neighborhood has long been the home to principally Palestinian refugees. But more recently, it's become a refuge for Syrians fleeing the barrel bombs of President Assad on one hand and the predations of ISIS on the other. The camp saw heavy fighting, shelling, and outright massacres during the religious conflict known as the Lebanese Civil War. Everywhere you see posters representing a full menu of political factions and affiliations, from Assad loyalists to the PLO to every flavor of extremist.
It's either a jihad of victory or martyrism.
Do you know of any other place in the region where all of these groups are coexisting within a confined space?
It is stunning to be walking down the street with high-heeled short skirts and vast amounts of red wine flowing, and then drive straight into an extraordinarily conservative, predominantly Shia district, you know, the Hezbollah district, which is effectively run by what the US calls a terrorist organization. It is kind of mind-blowing.
I am not a geopolitical expert. And as much time as I've spent in this part of the world, I've spent nowhere near the amount of time this guy has. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN senior international correspondent.
Most of the groups here are now more terrified of those sort of crazy Islamist radicals across the border in Syria than they ever have been of each other.
What would you call this neighborhood? What is it?
I mean, it's now one of the kind of very mixed refugee areas that Beirut has.
Close to 2 million people from Syria alone.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot to be absorbed by a tiny little nation of, what, 4.5 million?
It's just loads of people, far too many people with nowhere to go. But you see it in how the cell phones don't sometimes work the way they should, how people have to ship water into their own homes. That's part of bad infrastructure, but it's also just the sheer demand on resources.
We'll follow you.
Okay, for the first time in the history. A Palestinian leads American. That's nice.
Don't let the neighbors know about that.
Yes.
In Syria, Mr. Najam was an English teacher. Needless to say, he had at one time a better life back there.
I came from Syria after the civil war started there.
Yeah.
We know Lebanon has many problems, sectarian problems, and we don't want to add more problems for those people. But what can we do? We live here in this camp. Imagine the situation here. It is unbearable.
He is married, by the way, and he has 3 kids. Look, in spite of his bones, he works, you know, in construction. His family bought this wood in order to protect us from the rats. Yes. These children need medical operation, but this family can't pay for those operations because they are very expensive. They are waiting for Godot. They wait for nothing. They wait for the help of God.
Straining under the weight of all these unasked-for guests, the Lebanese government has begun making it very difficult for them.
He doesn't work only because he doesn't have an official residence. So he can't leave the camp. Otherwise, he will be arrested, you know.
Being stopped at any of the city's ubiquitous military checkpoints could mean a one-way ticket back to Syria. Trapped, unable to work, they exist invisibly on the margins of society.
No photos here. This is a military area. We don't want to get involved in any problem.
Syrian food?
This is Syrian. It is called the 7 countries. It consists of many kinds of vegetables. 7 kinds of food. Palestinians in Syria, most of them are well-educated. Doctors, engineers, lawyers, teachers.
But here now, it's the opposite, right?
Here in Lebanon, even if you were a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, you can work only in the camp. We don't know how to go, where to go. To go back to Syria?
No can do.
To cross the sea?
Can't.
Suppose that the Lebanese authority collect us and throw us away to Syria. What is going to happen? We have no area in the world. We have no place in this universe. We belong to nowhere. Nowhere.
Välkomna till Libanon. Allah.
Once known as the Paris of the Middle East, Beirut still clings to its glamorous 1960s image. A chic tourist destination where you can famously ski and go to the beach, all in the same day. Walking the Corniche, it's easy to forget, for a moment anyway, what's going on not far from here.
All the people who live here near the coast, they prefer to spend the Sunday outside their houses. And this is one of their traditional places. This is the way I live all my life.
Mo is a local security specialist on assignment to keep, well, me and my crew safe from harm. He lives with his daughter, Bushra, and his family in Ras Beirut, a mixed neighborhood of Christians, Muslims, and Druze.
Little oil in the middle, as I recall, yes?
Yes.
Oh, so good. Very good fish. I miss this country. I really did.
You have been here before?
This is my 3rd time.
Whoa.
My first time was 2006.
Ooh.
We came here, we had 2 perfect days, and then the war broke out.
During my first trip here in 2006, Hezbollah guerrillas killed 3 Israeli soldiers and captured 2 others in a cross-border raid. In the 34-day war that followed, much of Beirut was heavily pounded by bombs and naval artillery.
I fell in love with this city. Under the worst possible situation, you have this really extraordinary mix of religions and people. How is that? Why? What's so special about it? Why?
Of course, somebody on Friday go to pray, somebody on Sunday go to pray. But they go to the same restaurant, have the same food, have the same drink. They have the same tradition.
There's no place better than Lebanon. You have everything. People are friendly, beautiful, fantastic.
It is a democracy here.
Of course, you have choice to sit down and talk. I like this, I don't like this.
So what's it look like now?
Yani, we look like we are 2 months before 2006.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
Tension is a little bit high, but the people, they are very happy. We are very happy. I go with my family outside.
I mean, I was watching the news last night at the hotel. It is genuinely terrifying.
This is Lebanon. It's raining today, tomorrow is sunny. It's happening all the time. We get used to it.
You get used to it. Are you concerned or optimistic?
No, I'm optimistic, yeah.
Do your friends feel the same way?
Not really, not all.
Your friends are less optimistic.
Yeah.
We have only one good neighbor. It don't affect us.
Yeah.
It helps us all the time. It's the sea. We bring the fish and we have fish. And he never get upset from us.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
back. We're here. Booyakasha, we are back in his house.
Oh, you're here too?
Yeah, this is Radio Beirut.
Is that why, yes? Yes, I think it is. Ironic glasses, vintage clothing, and neck beards. It appears the Brooklyn strain has spread even to Beirut.
Radio Beirut, live and direct.
It is, with CNN and everything. CNN has become the most trusted name in news. Same way a broken clock is trusted to be right twice a day.
CNN changed their slogan from, "This is CNN," to at least, "It's not Fox News."
Yes, sir.
How is it possible, this mix of religions, of cultures?
You know, geographically, how it is, Beirut's so tiny. You got mountains, you got the sea. We're surrounded, and then there's so many factions that you have to deal with everybody.
I'm going turkey ham in this bitch. That's halal, it's a gift. Now pass me the letter, stack up until I sandwich the shit. Now where is the bread? Where is the khibbis? Where's 80% dipping in hummus while a small percentage get to eat zit? Where is the oil? Where is the wealth? Syrian folks, they easy and chill. They need to not know, just needed some help. Give them the choice.
Syrian Filipino rapper, Chino.
Monday is hip hop in Radio Beirut. Hey, Radio Beirut is like a really awesome place where there's live bands playing all week long.
We created a platform for MCs to try their skills in front of people without the prejudice, without the judgments, and although we do judge, we do make fun of them. Green fields and dream fields like Copperfield. Then I'm making magic like my name was Copperfield.
Lebanese freestyle legend Hussein, aka Double A, the preacher man.
You were arrested? Is this correct?
Yeah. That's normal. That's not the first time it happened.
For what?
Basically, I was profiled. Like, if there's an explosion, oh, the big dude with the beard was bald. That's him.
Right.
It's him. He did it. We're 100% sure.
These are beard-related issues.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's talk about hip-hop.
That's the glue that binds us.
What is it about hip-hop?
I see it like this. I mean, a lot of people do mowels. In Arabic, it's called a mowel, in which it's a traditional rhyming scheme in which they speak about their problems, about their beefs. It's in our core to be we are poets.
We come from like a background where you have governments that are dictators. We can't really voice anything.
These politicians can't believe them because they're getting led on to the slaughter while this monster's trying to keep the lid on. Pressure makes it squeal, but it blows the lid off. And we're raw, we're raw, we're raw.
We're trying to find our own identity. We don't want to be like our ancestors who always fighting each other. Like, he's Christian, he's Shia, I'm Syrian Sunni. That's nothing, you know. We don't even mention that when we're on stage.
So I'm on my own now. The hell with the world. The universe is my home now. Check it.
Afternoon in Beirut, and the Hafez family, like many others across the city, prepares dinner.
Extraordinary spread of food.
Yeah.
Chicken burger.
All this food, you see. And my son, he's crying because he wants to go to Burger King. He wants some chicken burger from Burger King.
Well, thank you so much for having me in your home.
This is spicy potato. We call it batata harra. Deep fried potato with red pepper, green chili, coriander, garlic, and lemon juice. And this is kibbinaye, which is raw meat, lamb, fresh mint, spring onion. Mix it all together. And this is as a main course. It's called musakka. Minced meat, baked aubergine, green and red pepper, and chickpeas, and tomato paste. Please help yourself.
Thank you. I was in Beirut in 2006. This neighborhood was hit very hard.
Yeah.
Were you here at that time?
Yeah. It was a disaster.
Why this neighborhood?
Because the people in this area, 99% they support Hezbollah.
As Israel buries its dead from a surprise Hezbollah missile strike and the radical Shia group celebrates a victory, the rhetoric on both sides is at a fever pitch right now.
It is the deadliest Hezbollah attack against Israeli forces since the two sides went to war in 2006.
Hezbollah means the party of God. They are a Shia military political organization lavishly supported by Iran. The party is more powerful, more effective on the ground than the Lebanese army. The United States officially designates them a terrorist organization. In 1983, they did this, the U.S. Embassy bombing. And this, the Marine barracks at Beirut's airport. 299 United States and French servicemen were killed.
All these people, they are Hezbollah. Please put it down now.
They are dangerous, they are well-funded, and whatever else they may be, they are not stupid.
In 2006, I have two sisters, they lost them home. Hezbollah take care of them. Here in Dahieh, everybody support Hezbollah, even the people who they are not religious, for one reason, because they feel protected by them.
My host's support for Hezbollah, typical of the Dahieh neighborhood in South Beirut, is staunch.
Before Hezbollah, Lebanese people, they were always scared of Israel. Now when you say Israel, you say, oh, we don't care.
In the early days, Hezbollah used tactics that just about anyone would call terrorism.
When is it permissible, morally, to use a car bomb or using civilian targets?
For me?
For you.
I'm against killing. Against killing anybody, even Israel. This person who I'm gonna kill and car bomb or whatever, doesn't he has family?
What's the most important thing happening in the world today that needs to be resolved for things to be better?
ISIS.
ISIS is number one.
Number one. They killed hundreds and thousands of Shia. They are devils. They are against everything, like everything on the earth they are against.
Recently, Hezbollah has become heavily involved in the war in Syria, in defense of the Assad regime. Complicating matters, and uncomfortably enough, they are probably the best organized, best equipped, most serious obstacle to ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the area.
Most of the villages in the east of Lebanon, they are Christian and they are Sunni.
Right.
If Hezbollah wasn't there, it was no more Christian in that area. This is the only reason the gun. This is the only reason for, just to protect my children and my wife.
20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
Will things be better?
Hope so. Hope not 20 years and 30 years. Hope now, next year, things goes better. I hate war.
The last two times I've been here, there's just this never-ending building boom. Nobody seems to be moving in, but the buildings are going up.
Yeah.
Who's buying these apartments? Who are they for?
Two kinds of people. Lebanese who are living abroad, or Arabs, especially from the Gulf region.
Right. For whom Beirut is a relatively liberal wonderland of permissiveness compared to Riyadh, for instance.
Compared to Riyadh, yes, but unfortunately, we cannot generalize this and say that Beirut is a place where sexual expression is encouraged.
Her books are banned in many countries in the region. She's regularly threatened with rape, stoning, and murder. She is Jumana Haddad, culture editor of Lebanon's biggest newspaper, An-Nahar.
Yesterday, I had my first web TV show about sexual freedom, and you cannot imagine how many hell's doors have opened just because I dared say that girls are allowed free sexuality just like boys. And we pretend to be a democracy. This is kafta.
Kafta?
Yeah, with yogurt sauce and cranberries. It's
Then
yummy.
a fried
Kibbeh.
stuffed grape leaves?
Yes. Tabbouleh,
Tabbouleh?
the famous tabbouleh.
The fact that Lebanon, that Beirut in particular, works at all. All these religious groups and different interests. I mean, this is a fully functioning, more or less, by world standards.
Fully functioning.
Yeah, this is a...
We don't have a president. It's been it's gonna be a year now that we're without
That's sort of awesome.
Don't you think that the main reason behind you seeing this as a thrilling, exciting place to live in is that you're a visitor and not someone who actually lives here?
Am I wrong to love this place?
You're not wrong to love it. I love living on the tip of a volcano, but there has to be some point where I could breathe and relax. I don't want to seem like I'm only criticizing, because I really also, as much as I hate this place, I love it as well. And I know that it's also very precious to have such a kind of freedom in a place in the Arab world like Beirut. I don't need to tell you about the Islamic State. Even though they're not inside Beirut yet, we can feel the threat. We can feel it every day.
Should people come here?
Yes, definitely, they should come. They will enjoy it as much as you have. I wouldn't advise them to stay more than a month, though.
I often go to the Danieli in Venice, and I ask them there to call me Your Highness. I love that. That's my trip. So I go there and I'm dressed like an emperor. I'm not today, but sometimes I dress like an emperor.
There have been 2 attempts on your life, yes?
Yes.
That you're aware of.
2 attempts. In Arabic, we say telte septe. It means the 3rd one succeeds. So I don't know when the 3rd one will be.
A young militant, an activist, a labor organizer. You have been arrested in your life.
Yes, many times. When I was 14 years old, for example, I became a communist in a region that was under control of the extreme right-wing militia. I ended up in a torture room that I recreated here just behind you.
Later, after joining and then leaving the Lebanese army, Michel Eleftheriadis formed the MUR, an armed revolutionary group.
And yet here you are, your life now is music and culture.
I think that I was made to be a musician, but when war happened in Lebanon, I took a gun. I understood that I cannot face someone who's attacking my house with a guitar.
In 2003, by now a music producer, entrepreneur, politician, artist, author, and filmmaker, he founded the Beirut Music Hall in a bullet-pocked theater empty since the Civil War. This is his kingdom.
Some people come because it's trendy. They come with their sexy ladies. Some come because they like to discover new things. You have per night up to 15 acts, each act coming from a different culture.
Who needs culture?
I think that culture can save the world. ISIS, those criminals who are not very far from Lebanon, someone who read interesting books, someone who listened to beautiful music cannot become an animal again.
If you were the emperor of the world, hypothetically.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. What will Beirut be like in 10 years?
Best case scenario, it goes back to before the creation of Israel. When all communities were living very well, the Jews will be back. We are in the Jewish neighborhood here. I think that we have to all to be united to fight this monster, ISIS. Once the monster is defeated, you can start arguing again about other things.
Hello.
How do you know? I'm Tony.
I'm Rawan. Nice
Thank
to
you for
meet
doing this. This feels very formal, but
Yeah.
it's not. So please relax.
I am relaxed.
Okay, good.
Can I get my beer?
By all means, yes, please.
Lots of people come here. They're mostly musicians and artistic people. Lots of jamming happens here. It's like more of a family hanging out.
This cafe is a typical Beirut establishment with a clientele from Lebanon, from Syria, and any number of other countries. The owners are both Lebanese and Syrian and acutely aware of the tricky political realities with which they must live. They were concerned about us filming here and wanted us to understand clearly that the cafe has no political affiliation and that the opinions of this young lady, Rawan, are not that of the cafe or necessarily even the clientele.
You're born and bred Syria?
I was born and brought up in Syria, in Damascus. One night, 3 a.m., the army entered our house and I found them in my bedroom looking for the Free Syrian Army. My dad knew he couldn't protect us because he was old. 3 hours later, we decided to leave. So we came to Beirut.
Oh, thank you.
We always eat here. Grape leaves is my favorite food.
I saw you went for that first.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it is. We come here a lot and we talk a lot about Syria. We talk about our visa issues most of the time. Actually, now I have 4 months left and I really have no idea what am I going to do.
What do you think? Will they renew your visa?
So far, I don't think so.
Do they arrest you? Do they take you to the border and kick you over the other side? How does that?
Send you back to Syria.
What happens if you go back to Syria?
Most probably die on the way, or to some people get arrested or be taken to the army.
How different is Damascus from Beirut?
Oh, it's really, really different. In Damascus, I was always afraid of the government. Some people died because they cursed the president. I left Syria and I found hope here, and I screamed in the streets, cursing all politicians and everything. It's all right. Nobody's gonna come and arrest you. I really love this place with all my heart.
Is all of the chaos and the violence worth it for change? Is that worth dying for? I mean, there was order when you grew up. There was order.
Yes.
No freedom, but order. Would you go back to that?
I don't think that there is anything worthy in the world of a human blood. There is nothing more important than a human being.
You'd never be able to yell out loud. You'd never be able to do the things you're doing now. You'd go back.
I was alive.
You were alive.
Lots of people were alive as well.
One day, after a shocking daylight bombing in Lebanon, we're seeing widespread anger and finger-pointing.
This blast has set off a tide of civil unrest in Lebanon.
Damage has been done. Flame keeps circling.
Good to see you. How you been?
I've been all right. I've been well. Where better for capitalist, imperialist pig dogs like Ramsey and myself to spend a last evening in Beirut than Abu Eli?
It was opened by a guy called Dahieh. He was an atheist member of the Lebanese Communist Party.
A communist-themed bar located in a housing block.
What is this? Do you know what? I'm not sure. It's been put in front of us.
Well, we should probably drink it,
Yeah,
figure
let's
out.
do it. Why not?
Vodka.
Vodka.
You know, I actually had somebody who lives here tell me, oh yeah, the place is great. Just don't stay here for longer than a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Oh, yeah, you're trying to kill us, man.
And
who is this man? He's trying to hurt us.
Cheers.
After more than a few indigenous beverages...
Oh, arak? No, now we're talking. Cheers.
Cheers.
Enter Ernesto.
How's it going? Hey, Tony. Yeah, I got something for you.
Oh, yeah?
It's a Cuban cigar.
In the words of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, let's get the party started. Or was that Rick James?
Ernesto's the son of the owner of this bar.
I know.
This is my mom. She made some shanklish here.
Oh.
Shanklish is the cheese.
It's kind of rotten cheese.
There we go.
Cheers. I called my dad.
Yeah.
I told him there's a guy called Tony, CNN. He said, I don't watch CNN. And then I told him, but he's a cool guy. He wants to make the best food for you.
This is some of the best kibbeneh in Beirut.
Lamb?
And spices.
Oh, man, that's good. Hypothetical question. ISIS are coming now. Are we picking up a gun or not?
I pick a gun.
Yeah, we will fight these people.
No, I'm not drinking.
No, we have to have it.
Nick Knapsack.
Yeah, Nick some.
I seem to remember Mom at one point whipping out some kind of automatic weapon.
All right, here you go, big boy.
I will take this up in arms and I will fight.
Let me tell you how we
I will.
And then the mirror ball descended from the ceiling, Bootsy Collins came on over the sound system, and the rest is a fog.
Let's first have a cheers.
Oh, come on, give me a big hug. This is a country with the worst neighbor problems in the world. It's amazing that it persists.
I've been around. And I've seen places. This place, it works fine.
I think so too.
Cheers to Tony, man.
Beirut. Everybody should come here. Everyone should see how complicated, how deeply troubled, and yet at the same time, beautiful and awesome the world can be. Everyone should experience, even as the clouds gather, what's at stake, what could be lost, what's still here, and never let that hope go. Beirut. There is no place like it.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Do you smell that? Motorbike exhaust, fish sauce, incense. The faraway smell of something, is that pork grilling over charcoal? Vietnam. It could be no place else. Listen to me. Listen to me. There is no other way to see this city, Hanoi, than from a motorbike or a scooter. To do otherwise would be to miss it all. It is one of the great pleasures of my life to join the river of people rushing through the streets. Vietnam. It grabs you and doesn't let you go. Once you love it forever. I've been coming here since 2000. The first time I'd been to this part of the world, and it's held a special place in my heart and my imagination since. I keep coming back. I have to. Vietnam has changed since last time I was here. It's changing every minute. But some things, for now anyway, remain the same. Important things, like this stuff.
That's gonna be good.
Bon Oc, first meal in Hanoi, and it's something they do here better than anywhere else.
Okay, I'm officially in Hanoi now. Magic.
A spicy, wonderful broth with tomatoes and herb and noodles and fresh snails.
Plump and delicious. Look at those beauties. Come to me, plump little love muscle.
Hanoi, capital city of Vietnam. 7.5 million people live here. In the winter, it's chilly and damp. In the summer, hot, humid, subtropical. The boulevards and many of the buildings are French. But its heart and soul is always, always Vietnamese. Americans coming here as tourists for the first time, especially veterans of the war, are shocked by how friendly the place is. People are genuinely happy to see you. This is Hanoi's old quarter, but it's looking less and less old these days.
Man, this area's changed, though. In the Irish/Czech themed pub next door.
Vietnam is a young country. Almost half of Vietnamese are under the age of 30. Fewer every year even remember what they call here the American War. Those years were a defining time for just about everyone, Vietnamese or American, who lived through them. And though there are still a lot of conflicted feelings back home, for most Vietnamese these days, the war has become an abstraction, not even a memory. Vietnam is still a poor nation, but the standard of living has improved a lot with the relaxing of hardline communist economic policies. More and more foreign tourists every year. Western chains, inevitably, are everywhere. And President Obama is visiting for the first time, taking another step on the long path toward normalizing relations between the two countries.
That is good. Ooh, hot. Ooh, I hit that chili hard.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
It's such a pleasure.
Oh, and we have beer ready to go. Great.
Yes. So we're doing by bottle or we're going to pour it in a glass?
How would you do it if I wasn't here?
I would put it in the glass.
Okay.
In Vietnam, and particularly in the north, it would be very improper for a woman to drink straight
really?
from the bottle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad I know this now. Cheers.
Tao is an Eisenhower Fellow and a Fulbright Scholar. She's devoted her career to help strengthen the bonds between Vietnam and the U.S.
Today, we drove to the outskirts of Hanoi. Cranes, tall buildings, people moving from the country to the city. Marc Jacobs, Prada. I mean, this is a very young country now.
Oh, very much a young nation. They like to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. They like to spend a lot of their time on the internet. The history of our country is a history of wars. We had 1,000 years under the Chinese, and then we had 80 years under the French, and then the Japanese came in. And when the American left, finally in 1975, we got involved with Cambodia. So we only have peace since 1989. just in a matter of a few decades, the entire population will be those without any war experience. And that's a great thing.
And what are we eating today?
Well, we are going to have a bánh cuốn.
And that means?
Rice roll. Very thin.
Like a crepe.
Yes, it's like crepe. And inside, ground minced pork and Indian mushroom.
Ah.
You dip it in, and there you go.
Oh, that's very good. Everything we do internationally, someone refers back to the Vietnam experience. You know, let's not do that again.
Let's not repeat Vietnam.
But I find it interesting that the people who had perhaps the most painful experience were among the first to reach out. I think the John McCain story is particularly interesting because here's a guy who had an atrocious experience here in prison, and yet he has been among the most vocal supporters of normalizing relations.
It took several trips to Vietnam, and so he could see Vietnam in a different light. It's no longer a war. It's a country with people.
Have you been out with returning veterans from?
Oh, yes, all the time.
They often want to go to the area that they serve.
Oh, yes.
They often even meet with the people they fought.
Yes.
B-52 pilots come to the areas they unloaded their bombs.
Yes.
What is that experience like? What do you see when they come?
Extremely emotional. Extremely emotional. People burst into tears. The memory I kept of you 45 years ago was an enemy. I did anything and everything to protect my life and to protect the people in my platoon. But today, when I see you again, not as an enemy, as a person, everything just disappear. All the bad feeling disappear. And now you actually know how, oh, are you married? You know, how many children do you have? You know, what are you up to? Their life turned into a new chapter. And this chapter is a good chapter.
Hanoi in the morning. The usual high-pitched whine of thousands of motorbikes. People and the things they carry coming out to work, to set up shop. The sound of commerce. Of a wildly free market economy in a system that's decidedly not. When I first came here, it was Tai Chi at dawn. And that's still here. But there's also this.
Good to see you.
It's nice to see you too. This is Anne, my friend. Nice to meet you. She's also my Zumba instructor.
Ah.
No Zumba for me. Breakfast, though, sounds good.
How often a week do you think the average person cooks, and how often do they eat out?
Mostly we just cook at home for dinner because that's the only meal in the day that everybody can be together. But for other meals, normally we eat out.
I meet my old friend Ha on the edge of the old quarter, a place known as Cussing Noodles.
This is my favorite restaurant.
This place?
Yes.
The name comes from the owner, this lady, known for the free and frank way she communicates with her customers.
I usually yells at people.
Yes. Đứng đấy làm gì lòng lắm. Mà gọi cái gì gọi nhanh lên, gọi lâu thế. Sao lại cuốn lưỡi với mọc. Nhưng mà nhà chị không có mọc. Em thích mọc, em ra ngoài chợ đầy mọc.
If you go to her counter and order something, and then if you indecisive, like, oh, can I have these? Oh, no, maybe I have these instead.
What?
She's like, I don't have lots of time for you, so just get out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Thôi tốt nhất là đi về nhà lẩu lấy ăn nhá, ở đây không nấu. Đi luôn.
And what's the specialty of the house here?
Bún chân giò. Chân giò means pig knuckles.
Pig knuckles. We know that's going to be good.
You put up with the abuse for this glorious, steaming bowl of rice noodles with spicy chilies, a rich, hearty, porky broth with pig's knuckle and snout. It's the only item on the menu, and it's good.
You know taro?
Yes.
So this is the stem of the taro plant. And to prepare this, you have to be very careful because if you don't do it right, then you get
Toxic.
itchy mouth. No,
Right.
no, not toxic. You won't die from it, but it makes your mouth really itchy. So
Interesting. Wow, that's delicious.
when people talk about Vietnam, they always say about spring rolls or pho, but I think this should be in the
the
list.
mix.
Yeah.
I'm easy. Give me some spicy noodles, some pork. I'm happy every time.
Buồn cười lắm. Thôi đi đi.
It's a maze of narrow streets and alleyways behind the old French cathedral. Vendors set up stools, and it's happy hour in Hanoi. Every doorway, every window, a little slice of life. A story all its own. Lives lived, being lived, caught for a second, a moment, then gone.
In Vietnam, sometimes to be truly friend, to be friendly, we have to drink until we are drunk.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
We must.
Cheer for friendship.
Linh Dinh, my oldest friend in Vietnam from the very beginning.
Many happy memories, my friend. We've been to Saigon, Can Tho, Nha Trang.
He was my original minder for Vietnam's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We became, in spite of his official responsibilities, fast friends.
1, 2, 3. Ba. Yo. Welcome back. Welcome back. Cheers.
Thank you.
Linh has brought me to a great and proud and uniquely Hanoi tradition, Bia Hoi. Bia Hoi refers to the roadside joints where locals gather to consume keg-dispensed, freshly brewed draft beer.
That's good.
It's not strong at all, my friend. Just like between 3 to 4%.
So we need to drink a lot.
Yeah. Cheer for Hanoi beer. It was something luxurious 30 years ago.
Right.
And now it's for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
Right.
10,000 dong.
So that's
40 cents. 45 cents.
45 cents a beer.
Yeah.
I'll have another. I can afford that. The country's changed so much. When I first came, bicycles and motorbikes. Now, a lot of cars.
More cars.
Look, money.
Yeah.
People are making money. Business is good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, much more tourism every year, yes?
Yes. People also enjoy life more.
Search the globe and you will find no other place that looks remotely like this. Halong means where the dragon descends into the sea. And legend says that this is where a great dragon charged, protecting Vietnam from foreign invaders. War is a constant theme in Vietnamese mythology and history. The Chinese, the French, the Japanese, the Americans, the Cambodians, again, the Chinese. Halong Bay has become, for better or worse, one of Vietnam's most visited destinations. Fortunately, this time of year anyway, you don't have to go too far to lose yourself in the past. Find a quiet place where you can still imagine the great dragon's tail thrashing and churning and kicking up these great karsks of rock. Chosen mode of transportation, the Emeraude, an old French-era steamer, refitted for more current-day needs. A big freaking boat. And it's all mine. Along with friends and crew, of course.
I like this boat. We're living a little larger than last. Last time, the boat was not this nice.
All the modern conveniences, but the charms of the past. It fits perfectly with my over-romantic delusions. And in general, it does not suck.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, Tony.
How you doing?
We're having some gin and tonic.
Gin tonic, traditional Vietnamese drink. Well, not really, but all right.
This is my first time trying this.
Yeah?
His first
How old
time.
are you anyway? Wait a minute, you were 5 years old last time I was in Halong Bay.
Yeah, she's fine. He's 20 now.
Wow.
Lynn and I came here for another show, what feels like a lifetime ago. Back then, I got to meet his son, Min, who's apparently grown up.
These are pictures of you and him.
Whoa.
15 years ago, 14 years ago.
Oh, my God. Look at my hair. It's changed a little bit. Like over 8 million people are coming to Halong Bay now?
Yeah, every year. Tourists.
All of this is protected, right? You can't do anything on these rocks.
No.
And how many of these islands? There's like 1,900 of these rocks out there?
1,969. And this is a good number, you know.
That's a lucky number?
6 is for fortune,
Right.
and 9 is for forever. So fortune forever.
A drink or two on the top deck, check. Now for the rest of the day, try to do as little as possible. A nap, sunset, maybe some more drinks. And what about dinner?
One for you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. So, we're eating some squid.
Tons of squid.
Tons of squid.
We try to get as many tons as possible.
Cue the majesty of the squid.
At night this time of year, the bright lights of Halong Bay's fishing boats are unmistakable.
They can only catch the squid in the evening. The line attracts the squid, so they can catch them.
They say that because of global warming, all the fish are dying, but that the squid and cuttlefish populations are increasing. So soon the whole sea will be filled with plenty of squid. We'll be eating it every day. Oh, yeah. Those are cute little squid. Oh, those are going to be tender. Woo. Oh, yeah, the tentacles are the best.
Catch the squid is very hard job.
They work all the night.
All the night.
They work all the night. The line is turned on all the night.
Right, and then sleep all day?
Yeah.
It's got to be hot out there, man.
Yeah.
Sleeping in the day.
Cheers for the day.
Cheers for the day.
A morning swim, a bowl of spicy noodles, and a view. Perfect.
How many in the family?
6 young couple and their 3 kids, and then the grandma's living with them. The oldest kid is a girl, and she was sent into the shore with some relatives to go to school because they have no schooling here.
Right.
Floating fishing villages like this used to be found in nearly every sheltered cove or corner of Halong Bay. But as Vietnam becomes a more popular tourist destination, authentic fishing villages are starting to disappear. The government has been relocating fishing families inland, hoping to minimize their ecological impact.
The people that living on floating villages, they're just genuinely nice and willing to open their home to us. And
They basically farm oysters.
yeah.
A lot of pearls for sale in Halong Bay and in Vietnam. They come from places like this. It takes over a year to grow each pearl, and there's no guarantee an oyster will even yield one.
Water spinach, I think that's called, right?
That's the most common vegetable for Vietnamese in summertime. Yeah.
What kind of fish are these? Little fish.
Yeah. Halong fish.
Halong fish.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Yeah, good fish. This is a pretty prime piece of real estate. They've lived here how long?
For many generations. This old grandma is 78 years old, and she said that her grandparents lived here before this all become like a big tourist attraction.
Is their situation protected by the state? They're allowed to live here by special because they've been here so long?
Actually, the government now is encouraging them to move back to shore because that's better for their children's education.
Nói thật là mình cũng thích chuyển trên bờ, nhưng mà chính phủ thì mình vẫn cứ phải người ta cho thì mình vẫn cứ nên, chứ còn vậy thì lại gì quá, chứ còn mình nhiều người mình mong còn chẳng được, chứ còn bây giờ mình còn cần người ta cho để mình lên bờ để cho không biết chữ nghĩa, gọi như là không quen biết làm cái nghề trên bờ. Bây giờ mình làm ở dưới biển nó quen rồi, mình làm lưới làm chài, mình đánh cá.
They said that they're happy to move back because it's better for their children. But they've been living here for many centuries, and all they know is just fishing.
Right.
Just another day in paradise. a tropical downpour in a working-class neighborhood on the outskirts of Hanoi. The lady selling vegetables and gum and cigarettes, taking a nap under a piece of corrugated tin, has no idea what's about to happen.
Turn around for me, sir.
1, 2, get down. Paid the cost to be the boss. Look at me. You know what to see. See a bad mother. Look at me. You know what to see. See a bad mother.
Mr. President. Good to see you. Mr. President, how do you like in Vietnam?
Love it. Markets like these I grew up with when I was a kid in Jakarta. These were basically the only markets available. You know, you would buy pretty much everything in stalls like this. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going in there and haggling and seeing what I could find.
This country, when I first arrived here, it smelled like a place that I would like. Certain countries just pheromonically, they just smell good, and I know where they're going to be good. You kind of smell that?
You know, there's certain spices that you can smell in certain countries that you just don't smell back home. Now, you know, there's some smells that aren't as appealing as well, but that's part of the mix.
This is indeed.
Yeah.
Head for the turnaround.
How you doing, guys? How are you?
Head for the turnaround. Told you so.
There's something magical about the smell. The minute you touch down here, it grabs you and captivates you, and chances are, it holds you forever. I'm not the first to feel this way. There is no better place to entertain the leader of the free world, in my opinion, than one of these classic, funky, family-run noodle shops you find all over Hanoi. Dinner and a beer cost about $6. I'm guessing the president doesn't get a lot of state dinners like this.
How often do you get to sneak out for a beer?
Very rarely. First of all, I don't get to sneak out, period. But once in a while, I'll take Michelle out on a date night. The problem is, part of enjoying a restaurant is sitting with other patrons and enjoying the atmosphere. And too often, we end up getting shunted into one of those private rooms at the back.
Well, I'm glad I could help, and to many
I
more
appreciate
cold
it.
beers,
Absolutely.
Mr. President.
All right, you're gonna have to...
I will walk you through.
You're gonna have to walk me through this.
We're about to eat bun cha. And it is about as typical and uniquely a Hanoi dish as there is. These beautiful little pork patties, some grilled pork belly.
Bun cha is served in a broth of vinegar, sugar, and the ubiquitous guac mam, or Vietnamese fermented fish sauce.
Chilies to taste. I mean, if you have an important state function after, you might not want to go too heavy on garlic.
I'm going with this thing. You know, we're gonna do what's appropriate.
Vinegar.
All right.
And then you just hack off noodles. You just drop them in your bowl.
Yeah, it's not too elegant, but I'm managing.
And you dip and stir and get ready for the awesomeness.
I'm ready. Now, is it appropriate to just pop one of these whole suckers in your mouth, or do you think that you should be a little more...
Well, slurping is totally acceptable in this part of the world.
It takes some skills, by the way, to handle these sticky, cold noodles. But whatever your opinion of the man, the president has those skills. I gotta say.
This is killer. This is outstanding.
So good to hear.
It's really good.
And we share, apparently, a sentimentality about Asian street food and Southeast Asia in general.
One of my favorite meals of all time. There's an area between Jakarta and Bandung, another city in Indonesia, called Puncak, and it's up through the mountains. So you'd have these roadside restaurants overlooking the tea fields. There'd be a river running through the restaurant itself, and there'd be these fish, these carp that would be running through. You'd pick the fish, they'd grab it for you and fry it up, and the skin would be real crispy. And they just serve it with a bed of rice. And it was the simplest meal possible, and nothing tasted so good.
Now, as a Chicagoan, trickier question fraught with peril. Is ketchup on a hot dog ever acceptable?
No. No, I mean that. That's one of those things like, well, let me put it this way. It's not acceptable past the age of 8.
My daughter's 8, and she put ketchup on eggs the other day, and I didn't know what good parenting called for at this point.
An intervention.
I think so.
I think you just got to say, you know what, that's not acceptable. I'm sorry.
We're at a point where we seem to be turning inwards. I mean, we're actually talking about building a wall around our country. And yet you have been reaching out to people who don't necessarily agree with us. Gaza, Iran, Cuba. I mean, I just wish that more Americans had passports. The extent to which you can see how other people live seems useful at worst and incredibly pleasurable and interesting at best.
It confirms the basic truth that people everywhere are pretty much the same. The same hopes and dreams. And when you come to a place like Vietnam and you see former American Vietnam vets coming back, when you see somebody like a John Kerry or a John McCain, two very different people politically and temperamentally, but who were able to bond in their experience of meeting with their former adversaries. And you don't make peace with your friends. You make peace with your enemies.
As the father of a young girl, is it all going to be okay? It's all going to work out. My daughter will be able to come here in 5 years, 10 years. She'll be able to have a bowl of bun cha, and the world will be a better place.
Yeah, I mean, I think progress is not a straight line. You know, there are going to be moments at any given part of the world where things are terrible. But having said all that, I think things are going to work out.
Thank you so much. Cheers. Cheers.
Vìน้องเอ้ยหญิงสาวเฮาเอ้ยเฮาของไข่บ้านขุนเสือกะเฮาของไข่เอาน้ำเมื่อนาเฮาไทย
The vast majority of this country don't remember the American war. They don't remember any war.
No.
You used to be a tour guide.
Yes.
For how many years?
15 years.
15 years. I know you have to bring people over to the museum, the American War Museum, what, every time, right?
Yeah.
In your lifetime, is there going to be a time when that's not going to have to be a stop? It won't be necessary. It won't even be important. No one will remember. Or should people always remember?
I think it's good to remember so we don't make the same mistake. You know, some people choose to be angry, to hold grudge, but then some people choose to let go and for the peace inside themselves. That's up to the person. And I think it's good that it's important that we know about history. And to make sure it's never happen again. I met a lot of war veterans, and surprisingly, a lot of them don't have any anger against their old enemies. And that's amazing. That is amazing. I learned so much from them. For Vietnamese, we have so many legends. But the majority of legends related to our tradition of fighting against foreign invaders and to protect our country. Over the last 20 years of my life, I've seen a lot of changes. And we know that there's still a lot of shortcomings. But everything needs time. We need to be patient. We can't rush because we really don't want another war.
General William Westmoreland, who commanded U.S. forces here in the mid-60s, famously said, "The Oriental doesn't put the same high price on life as does a Westerner. Life is plentiful. Life is cheap in the Orient." It was an extraordinarily grotesque and wrong-headed observation from a guy who, if nothing else, was expected to understand his enemy on the battlefield. He could not, it turned out, do even that. Maybe, I hope, we are a little bit smarter now.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Good morning, my friend. How are you? This mine?
Yes.
I will start my day. I wake up at 2, come to the garage around 3 o'clock, get ready to go on my way to take the Queensboro Bridge. there. Showtime.
Just across the East River from Manhattan, where I live, just over there, is an enchanted wonderland, an international crossroads, a stew pot of neighborhoods filled with the languages, cultures, traditions, and flavors of many lands.
Hey, how you doing?
Morning.
My morning ritual goes something like this. Regular coffee and a donut, maybe a cruller. I'm feeling wild and crazy. But just across the river, the options are endless. The 7 train winds over and through Queens like a main cable. Every stop can seem like another country, another region. Get off at Roosevelt Avenue, and you are going to eat well for sure. Example, this cart sells Ecuadorian food. Hornado, roast pork with sublime, crispy skin straight from heaven.
Crunch, crunch. Oh, that's the sound of victory right there.
Morcilla, blood sausage with potato cakes.
Oh, man, that's looking really good. This is a working class day, but people coming to and from work.
Yeah.
How often do you think the average person eats at one of these things?
A lot of like the day laborers, a lot of the men that are here, they might live in these tiny apartments with a tiny shared kitchen. They can't cook.
Right.
They're not going to go into the restaurants. They don't have time for that. So it's, for them, it might be even more that they're eating on the streets.
Sean Basinski is the director of the Street Vendor Project. Prior to going to law school, he built a pushcart and sold burritos on the corner of 52nd and Park. He founded SVP with a small grant from Yale University Law School. He lives in a tenement walk-up apartment in Manhattan with a bathtub in the kitchen. You know, like most lawyers.
So within like a mile of here.
Yeah.
What would my options be nationality-wise?
It's incredible. I mean, you can have Tibetan street food, and then there's Colombian arepas. You go up into Flushing, and then there's the Chinese barbecue carts. I don't know of any place in New York, maybe even the world or the country, that you can have such diversity on the street.
Matt Shapiro is another lawyer who represents street vendors when they need legal help, which in our nanny state current reality is all too often.
Now, generally speaking, to open up a cart on the street, you need a license?
You have to have a license for yourself, and then you have to have a permit for the cart itself. That's the problem.
At any spot?
Generally speaking, yes, although there's lots of restrictions.
Manhattan is very much the, you know, not my backyard neighborhood in a lot of ways. I mean, for this reason, Manhattan, in my view, is a lot less interesting than Queens.
Right.
This is a wonderland.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what we got here.
You know, they're trying to change it, though. And the more it does change, the more the vendors are threatened, you know? There's all this talk about cleaning up Roosevelt Avenue. You know what that means?
If you get higher rents, nicer buildings, they're not going to want a street cart out in front.
That's sometimes the problems that vendors face.
Right.
Even if the spot is completely legal. And we see it all the time, where there's building managers who come out and say, hey, you know, you got to move, can't be here. They even call the police.
So what happens if that happens, when that occurs?
When it was me, the young kid out of college,
Right.
I was ready for them.
Right.
But if you're an immigrant who doesn't speak any English and is realistically scared, and they tell you to move, well, you're going to move.
In a perfect world, how many of these would there be?
I think the more diverse street food we can have, the better. The more pathways we can provide for people to come and start a business. And hopefully, you know, after 5 or 10 years, maybe they'll have a restaurant, right? I mean, we don't say there are too many restaurants, do we? So why too many food vendors?
Too many affordable restaurants, goddamn.
Hey, what's up, Nino?
mashallah, mashallah. Hopefully no martial law. Hey, yalla, yo, yalla. Let's rock a show in Ramallah. Kick it with Muhammad when I'm out in Haifa. Kick it with Muhammad when I'm out in Jaffa. Oh no! Having trouble. TSA always wanna burst my bubble. Always get a random check when I rock the stubble.
Himanshu Suri is better known as Heens, half of the rap duo known as the Sweatshop Boys. He was born and raised in Queens, a living, breathing example of the glorious mashup that is this borough. So it seems just right that a first-generation Indian dude takes me to a Chinese dumpling spot close to his Hindu temple. Yew Garden Dumplings is everything you need in life.
So, born and raised, Queens?
Yeah.
What neighborhood?
Most of my life I've been in Glen Oaks and Belrose, which is like further east.
Largely or mostly Indian?
Our neighborhood is mostly Punjabi, and then there was Christians from Kerala, Malayali, and Pakistanis, those three.
And next non-Indian neighborhood over?
More like Guyanese, and still Indo-Caribbean.
Right.
And then the other neighborhood, like whiter, but still Indian. So it's hard to escape us in Queens, which is why I like it here.
Spicy beef and tripes, boiled pig tongue and tripe marinated in sugar and soy, served cold with chili oil.
Traditional Indian food at home. What about outside the house?
Because the food's so good at home, we don't really go out to eat Indian food, because it would just be my mom going, I could make better dal than this.
Right.
So in New York, man, it was like lo mein and pizza when we weren't eating Indian food.
Lion's head meatballs, pork, ginger, soy.
So we used to come to Flushing even when we moved out further east because they didn't have grocery stores here. My temple is over here, and so even as we moved further out to Long Island, we always end up coming back to here or Jackson Heights, which are like these first places you come. Sometimes I joke, I mean, Queens is so great and so diverse, but it's also because the airports are here. So it's just like you get off of a 16-hour flight with no money in your pocket from India, and you're like, where am I gonna live? Well, I'm already here, and so let's start with this place.
Soup dumplings, piping hot and filled with ground pork and near boiling broth.
This is why I go, man.
Yeah, the soup dumplings. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you were growing up, what was the ethno-national breakdown of a typical class in school?
My high school was a public high school, but it was maybe 70% East and South Asian, mostly Chinese and Korean. And all those kids end up going to Harvard, all those kids end up going to NYU and these types of schools. And you know, if the American dream is alive, I think it's alive in places like Queens.
What do you mean by that?
That there still are people coming here with nothing and making something out of it. And as I kind of lose hope and the idea of like diversity is a positive thing or the idea of America as an open place, I think in a place with so much race and diversity, it gets in the way less here than it does in other places.
Will America as a whole look sooner or later like Queens?
I guess 2042 is the year that people of color become the majority in this country.
Yep.
Seems like a long, long time away. But yeah, that is the hope.
하나님 아버지 은혜를 감사합니다. 오늘도 어르신들 귀한 점심 식당을 대하게 하시고 또 즐거운 시간 갖게 하심을 감사합니다. 어르신들 건강하고 행복하게 사시도록 하나님께서 지켜주시고 봉사자들에게 기쁨으로 봉사할 수 있도록 건강도 주시고 즐거운 마음도 주시옵소서. 감사드리며 예수 그리스도의 이름으로 축복하며 기도드리옵나이다. 아멘.
Get lost in Flushing for a while and behold the awesomeness. If you're looking for amazing Chinese food or Korean, just like home, well, Flushing is the place. This joint is high on the list, Gushigi.
Cheers. Not that.
Josh Smookler and Cosme Aguilar are both chefs and restaurateurs operating in Queens. Josh, a Korean man who was adopted and raised by a Jewish family, owns the wildly popular Long Island City restaurant, Moo Ramen.
Did it take off right away? It was successful right away?
Yes, pretty much immediately. I was cooking out of my house. Then we're transporting all to this bagel shop. We serve from 7 o'clock to 9:30, 10 seats at a time. It was me in the kitchen, my wife out in the front. And one day somebody texts me and goes, "Congratulations." I go, "For what?" They go, "Pete Rose just gave you #1 ramen in New York City."
So New York Times loves you.
Yeah, and I saw the article and I started crying.
Cosme is the owner of Casa Enrique, also in Long Island City. It's the only Mexican restaurant in New York with a Michelin star.
You didn't even do the smart thing. The smart thing, of course, would be to make shitty Mexican food because we know that Americans will always buy shitty Mexican food. You started making like really sophisticated, really interesting Mexican food. Well, why?
My brother come up with the idea to open a Mexican restaurant. And I told my brother, come on, I never cooked Mexican food like for restaurant. So I started cooking for 6 months at home every single day, trying to do different things. And finally we opened a Mexican restaurant.
And then you got a Michelin star.
Yeah, for 3 years in a row.
Nice. Both are fantastic, but tonight we're eating Korean. Gamjatang, pork neck bone soup with rice cakes, pork belly, kimchi, and spicy radish. And kimchi and oysters.
So this dish right here, the gamjatang, was the dish I had about like 3 years ago. It literally transplanted me back to Korea.
Yeah, but how old were you when you left?
When I came to America, I was 6.
Were you raised observant Jew?
Orthodox, yes.
You were raised Orthodox. You still with the program?
No, not at all. I'm eating pork right now.
Man, that's tough. I mean, because Koreans are pork crazy.
Korean food, I didn't have much of it growing up at all. In fact, kimchi was like shunned from our household because it stunk up the whole house.
Well, it's just not kosher, too.
And it's not kosher either, so they...
With the shellfish in there.
Yeah, but now I still make Korean-style ramen. And then I have a matzo ball ramen. Being raised Jewish, can't help it. I think as cooks, we always gravitate to what our DNA is.
So when are you opening a Korean restaurant?
I don't know anything about Korean food. I just know I like it. I gravitate towards those flavors.
Galbi, short ribs marinated in soy, garlic, and sesame oil, then grilled. Meat candy.
You ever investigate other neighborhoods? The number of immigrants from all over the world, I mean, is extraordinary.
The funny thing now is I have Caucasians working the line.
Yeah.
And then the Asians come in, they go, "Oh, this isn't good. You got a bunch of white guys." I'm like, what?
I'm racist like that, too.
Really?
Yeah, I'm totally like that. If I walk into a sushi restaurant, I make racist assumptions about the place if they're not Japanese.
Do you do the same thing when you go to a restaurant and you see, like, let's say a Korean restaurant, and if you only see white people, then what do you think? It's not legit?
Eating at the Korean restaurant?
Yeah.
You want the truth?
Yeah, of course I want the truth.
Now for Metro Christian Center.
Some people say it's the most famous place you've never heard of. That's where we are. But when you start getting out to the detail of it, this is historic Near's Tavern.
Back in the 1820s, when Queens was still mostly farmland and livestock rather than the 7 train was what rumbled down what became Jamaica Avenue, the manager of a racetrack called the Union Course opened a nearby tavern to accommodate the gamblers and layabouts who frequented his track. It was called the Blue Pump Room. In later iterations, it became the Old Abbey, the Union Course Tavern, and finally, Near's Tavern. The Near family, German emigres, added a bowling alley, a ballroom, and a hotel after the racetrack closed in 1898 and renamed the place Near's Social Hall. Today, it's owned by this man, Lieutenant Loy Gordon of the FDNY.
You were born in Jamaica?
It's a funny thing, I'm from the island of Jamaica and I moved to Jamaica, Queens.
Why Jamaica, Queens?
Well, my mom was here.
What did your mom do for a living? What kind of work was she doing?
You know, she didn't have all the education in the world, so you just had to do odds and ends. You had to clean floors and just do whatever she had to do to get things going. I think it's pretty much the similar story of immigrants that come to the United States. They come and work hard because it's the land of opportunity, and they find a way to kind of make it out of the rut.
Yeah.
Or at least using that platform to have someone like me, like their offspring, become a little bit more, right, than they were.
Ordinarily, the story is, I'm a regular beer drinker at this joint, and the thought of it disappearing is like unbearable to me. Where am I going to drink now? But you're not that. That's not your story.
I knew that this place was important, you know? I just felt something special. And being someone that's from Queens, something that's special like this, shouldn't disappear. It was 3 days from closing down when I walked into the place.
Wow.
The way it's located, someone has to tell you about Near's Tavern. Someone has to say, you know, it's around the corner, to the left, to the right. When someone tells you about it, I think they think you're worthy enough to discover such a historic, you know, cool little place.
Now, it's historic for a lot of reasons, not least, in my mind, because the greatest American film ever made was shot here. A lot of it was shot here, right? I mean, it was
about 15%.
Okay, so what was shot? Which scenes were shot here?
It was a very pivotal moment of the movie.
Okay, so that's the moment.
Wait.
Let me remember him. Is he right there or is he right here? He's right here.
Yeah.
He just looks over at Maury, and you know he's decided Maury's going.
Maury's going. Might as well just knock everybody
Well, no,
else.
Maury was a problem from the beginning. I think any reasonable businessman would have. You know, here's a question. It has nothing to do with anything. You're working for the mob, and you've been having some disagreements with your business partners. Why would you ever get in the front passenger seat when somebody else is sitting in the back? I mean, Paulie made the same mistake in The Godfather. It's always like, you know, that's a bad seat to sit in.
Yeah.
Ahora estoy haciendo el chile, que es para los tamales rojos.
Lo estoy partiendo a la mitad para que se cocine más rápido. Eso pica. Mi nombre es Evelia Coyotze y soy del estado de Tlaxcala. Y yo vine a Queens en el 2000. No sé, tal vez este era mi destino. Vender tamales. Se agarra la masa, cuchara de masa, se la hace y se la hace así. Se le pone una cuchara de salsa, pollo y se envuelve. Mi rutina diaria empieza a las 7 de la noche, a las 8. Empiezo a hacer los tamales, hago los atoles, pasamos a traer el carrito y me salgo a vender a las 4 de la mañana. Cuando yo llegué a Queens, era tan difícil estar aquí en Queens porque yo había dejado a mi hijo en México. Bueno, yo empecé a vender tamales porque me quedé sin trabajo cuando se cayeron las Torres Gemelas. Me ha costado mucho. Yo vendía en un carro de supermercado. Molestaba mucho la policía. Nos llevaban a la cárcel como 15, 16 veces. Entonces fue cuando decidí que tenía que rentar un carro porque nos arrestaban. Ahora nos está yendo bueno y así me vaya subiendo. Los fines de semana es bueno porque se venden como 2,000 tamales.
It is tempting to think when reflecting on Jackson Heights of Indian. But Queens is always changing, always in flux, a landing spot for people from all over the world, new arrivals from Tibet being an example. Sandwiched between 2 cell phone stores and a couple of jewelry shops is Lhasa Fast Food.
This particular neighborhood we're in now, Jackson Heights, has historically been the first stop for the newest immigrants. It's a big Latino neighborhood, but the South Asian community's presence is pretty well known, and it's, I think, very fitting that now this huge Tibetan community, which is very new, looking for a home, where are they gonna go? They're gonna go near the Indians, right?
So you guys grew up together?
Yeah, we grew up together in Queens. I remember we were in the same Little League.
What position did you play Little League?
Oh, they put me in the outfield. That was terrible.
Which outfield? That matters.
Oh, yeah, usually the right side. What do they call
Right
it? Okay, see, I don't know.
Keems joins me for dinner along with his friend and neighborhood advocate, Ali Najmi.
I'd now like to call up a close friend of mine, Mr. Ali Najmi.
I'm really involved in politics, local elections, empowering new voters, and then advocating for particular issues that come up.
Mr. President, I know you're not too good at listening, but you're gonna have to hear us now. Muslim Americans are not going anywhere. Latino Americans are not going anywhere. And we contribute to this country. It turns out we pay more taxes than you do.
Why give a fuck?
I have a sense of what I think is right and what needs to be done, and I can't sit back and let people who are being underserved continue to be underserved.
You're gonna have your work cut out for you the next 4 years.
We are, but you know what? We have to organize. There's no other way to do it. America wouldn't be as great as it is right now if people didn't organize.
It's both unique and disturbing that you're also from Queens. Because the values that you have been running on are not the Queens values we know. And I guarantee you one thing, we, all of us, will make sure you don't forget where you came from.
How much traction are you getting within the community? Is there a hunger for that, or is it taking some convincing?
There are definitely a lot of people who are just, because it's such a new community, they're just trying to make it in America. They're trying to maximize whatever they have, even space. We have a cell phone store or a phone card store. We have a little bit of space. Let's put a restaurant here and maximize everything we can. But then there are other people that get it, that believe in the promises of America, and they believe in their rights.
Thin tuk, hand-torn noodle soup with chilies and ginger.
I mean, do you think it's only a matter of time till replaced by either another incoming group or, hipster apocalypse?
Look, I mean, the story of New York is that neighborhoods are constantly changing. Nothing is, everything's in flux, nothing's static. And even all our communities that have come in, we've transformed these neighborhoods that we moved into.
It's hard to make a claim for ownership when my parents moved here too, So there is that constant, I don't want this neighborhood to be gentrified, but am I gentrifying it?
Shapta, or chili fried beef. Thin panes of beef with chili oil and soy and Sichuan peppercorns. Shamomo, steamed dumplings stuffed with beef.
For a lot of people, you're going to see this community, and for them, it's like the nightmare scenario. What's the best things about Queens other than diversity? Just as an everyday practical matter.
You wake up every day in Queens and you're allowed to be who you are. You can't say that at every place. Maybe not even the places our parents come from.
Further out in Queens, the somewhat forlorn-looking but still beautiful Rockaways.
This is Rockaway Park. Further down, you can call it Far Rockaway. There's also Rockaway Beach. That's why they call it the Rockaways and not just Rockaways sometimes.
Right.
There's a lot of different parts to it.
Josmar Trujillo, a writer and local activist.
You from Queens originally?
I was raised in the city, but I lived in Queens for most of my adult life now.
And Rockaway now?
No, so I left here about a year after Hurricane Sandy because the way Sandy hit and the way it kind of, shook people out of where they were, you didn't want to put your family through that again, or the risk of that.
How bad did it get hit out here?
This was like something out of a movie.
Hurricane Sandy pounded the East Coast in 2012, and many communities suffered. But the Rockaways were hit with particular ferocity.
How was the response?
The response from everyday people was good. One of the best things about what happened right afterwards was the way a lot of people came together who lived here, but also how a lot of people kind of came in, pitched in, brought food, brought generators. But, officially, with the government, the semi-governmental groups, they dropped the ball.
What was the problem?
They weren't ready for it. The Rockaways, by design, has never been a place where there was a lot of good investment or infrastructure anyway, to begin with.
Why? Look, this is what you would call prime oceanfront property, not far from New York City. What's going on?
This was a place historically where the city, and Robert Moses in particular, really used as a dumping ground for undesirable groups that the city didn't necessarily want to deal with.
Back in the day, the Rockaways were a summer destination for middle-class New Yorkers until better roads and an improved rail system lured them to the beaches of Long Island.
They threw a bunch of public housing projects in here. They sent a lot of the low-income people of the city out here, and it just wasn't a place that historically the city ever took seriously. Since then, we've also had a lot of working-class whites move into more kind of the western end, and so you've kind of seen in the Rockaways just kind of shape out along race and class lines. And the one dynamic that's changed after Sandy was you had a lot more young urban professional types, really coming out here. Maybe looking intentionally or not to Brooklynify the Rockaways. Right. Or gentrify the Rockaways. Rockaways called the Brooklyn Riviera or the Williamsburg Riviera.
Who gets the shaft in a situation like that?
If you're a person who's not a homeowner, if you're a person that's struggling to pay rent, the plans are generally, history has told us, going to leave you behind. it's interesting because I don't think a lot of people thought that that would happen here. When you're on Rockaway, you had this kind of sense of security that you kind of were out in this lazy beach town, and like, I would love to come out here and walk on the beach, and it'd be just me and maybe 2 other people for miles and miles, and that was great. Where you won't have that anymore, when there won't be a place in the city for you to be able to have that. You know, some people may be for it, and I think that might be short-sighted because I think that this might not necessarily involve the same people who are here.
It never does. What's a perfect day in the Rockaways?
Oh, perfect day? Obviously, hit the beach, but you don't want to find a place where there's, you know, no sand, you know?
Right.
You want to find a place that's kind of off the beaten path, grab a bite to eat, you maybe, you know, have a couple of drinks at night and watch the waves crash, and we're near the airports, you watch some of the planes fly over, and it's just, you know, it's a different feel. You don't feel like you're in New York when you're out here. When I first came here, I was a city kid. I was used to living the hustle and bustle, the city that never sleeps. When I got here, there's like this tranquility, there's this feel that you're not in the city, and it's great because it makes you feel like you can sit back and be with your thoughts. You know, as a city kid, it gave me a lot of perspective. So anytime you can come out here and kind of be away from stuff and kind of be, you know, with the water and with your thoughts is a great thing. Yeah.
Is that a $100 bill?
Yeah. I feel dead inside, Lori. This is gonna bring me around.
Keep telling yourself that.
All of it on number 2 to win first. Yeah. Thank you. Gotta be in it to win it, Lori.
All right. $5 on number 5 to win, please.
It's the middle of winter, and there are only a few hardcore racing enthusiasts here.
Right.
Also me and friend and author Lori Woolever.
Here they come.
And a winner. All right, you won your first race.
You know, you didn't win anything, but...
Quite good enough.
I love this place. The ponies, the beer, the looming sense of despair and melancholy. Did I mention they have Jamaican beef patties?
So people like it here because you can get your emotional feel for the horses, and you can look down into the paddock, and people like to sort of see how the horse is behaving.
All right, I smell victory. Or is that horse shit? 4th race, number 2 to win. Oh no!
Yeah.
I need to win on a long shot now. I need to get well. I gotta come back.
Built near the site of a former conduit for the Brooklyn Waterworks that brought water from eastern Long Island to the Ridgewood Reservoir, Aqueduct Racetrack opened in 1894. The glory days of horse racing are long gone, but for those few proud remaining degenerate gamblers with a few bucks and a dream, Aqueduct is still there.
It's a judgment-free zone here, though.
Totally.
It's kind of a come-as-you-are situation.
Yes. I think that's true of Queens in general. And you can kind of fly under the radar, you know? You have not been harassed too much today, right?
No, a guy came up to me. He says, hey, you look like Anthony Bourdain. I said, I wish I had his money. And he said, you're right, that asshole. It was great. It was like the perfect encounter.
That's Queens. Nobody gives a shit.
All right.
2, right up on top.
Yes.
Come on, number 2. Keep it, keep it.
It's a close race.
Close it up.
It's a nail biter. Dropped like a stone.
Way to suck. So promising.
No braces for my little girl.
It's not over. There's always another race.
I'm Ray. I'm from Guyana originally. My father raised birds, so I end up with the same hobby. It's called bird racing. Instead of like a running race, like a singing race, you know? The first bird that chirped to 50 won the prize. It worth a lot of money. And if you become a champion, you win a couple of races, the price goes up. $10,000, $8,000. Gotta be as gentle as possible. So I just hold it in my hand. If you hit bumps, I rattle him, you know? I want him to be as calm as possible. We'll find a parking as close as possible to where we're going so the birds don't be exposed to the cold weather. Right now, we're trying to warm up the birds. And sometimes you bring a bird today and he's not in the mood. Nothing happens. We just got another day. All right, you ready?
The whole world is in Queens, and like the world as a whole, it is constantly changing. Here in the Jamaica neighborhood, a growing number of immigrants from Africa have put down roots, and with them, restaurants catering to their tastes. Like here at Africana Restaurant.
How you doing? My name is Blessing Usagere. I come from Nigeria, and this one is a Nigerian restaurant. We started in 2000. The first 3 years were really tough. But thank God we're still alive, we're here, we're healthy. My mother had a restaurant in Nigeria for 20 years before I came here. I love to cook. When you come in here, you feel at home. You feel like a mother's land, you know.
This food is really good.
It is very good. And she was worried about it being too spicy. I don't think it's too spicy.
Never a problem for me.
Sarah Khan has made it her mission to find and write about some of these great little off-the-grid places throughout the borough.
You're studying the intersection between food and culture. How did you get to that point?
So I kind of cobbled together a way to travel, learn languages, and eat.
Do you ever worry that by celebrating these communities,
Yeah,
you're helping to destroy them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I worry about it.
But, you know, those stories need to be told through what they do, through how they survive.
મારું નામ નિકિતા છે હું અહીંયા સિન્સ 2001 અહીંયા ન્યુયોર્કમાં રહું છું અને હું ઇન્ડિયાથી છું ગુજરાતથી.
Every meal, every dish has a story, often a very personal one, often a story of hardship, separation, difficult times. But when somebody cooks for you, they are saying something. They are telling you something about themselves, where they come from, who they are, what makes them happy.
제 이름은 김태수고 서울에서 1974년도에 퀸스에 와서 살기 시작했습니다.
A whole hell of a lot of people in Queens, the people who make the borough what it is, who make it such a great place to eat and explore, are very far from the places they once called home. But Queens is home now. After 9 days of threats of imprisonment, confiscation of footage, and what was the most chaotic, difficult, yet amazing trip of my life, the last thing that stands between us and our flight home is the reason we came: the Congo River itself.
Eric, this ferry cannot move today because now the bird and they have to repair tomorrow.
The UN truck just said he's been here since this morning.
I've had times where I've been held up for days.
What's up, Freddie?
Start the engine.
They're starting the engine. Awesome. It just broke down again?
Yeah. We now have 1 hour of daylight left.
They're starting the engine from the started.
Okay, great.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
You learn quickly. In Congo, things change at a moment's notice.
Welcome
to the jungle.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Everyone gets everything he wants. I wanted to see the Congo, and for my sins, they let me. In Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad writes of his alter ego. When I was a little chap, I had a passion for maps. At that time, there were many blank spaces on Earth. But there was one yet, the biggest, the most blank, that I had a hankering after. This, then, is the Congo. The size of all Western Europe combined. It should be Africa's wealthiest nation. But people forget, or never even knew, that the 20th century's first Holocaust happened here when Belgium's King Leopold managed to bamboozle the world into giving him personal title to the Congo. Leopold's agents, of whom the mythical Kurtz was one, raided, slaughtered, mutilated, and pressed into forced labor much of the population in a bloodthirsty quest for first ivory and then rubber. When independence finally came, the Belgians trashed what they could and left behind a completely unprepared, tribally divided, and largely ungovernable landmass filled with stuff that everybody in the world wanted. And things pretty much went downhill from there. But this story begins with a truck stop in Rwanda.
Stocking up in Rwanda, because my expectations for food in the Congo are more measured.
If you're looking to get to the Eastern Congo, and many would ask why you'd even want to do that, the best way is to drive across from neighboring Rwanda. This country, of course, not too long ago, suffered its own appalling genocide. Behind the wheel, Dan. He's been living in the DRC for 2 years, working on a documentary about some of the several dozen rebel groups in the country. Riding shotgun, Dan's close friend and associate, Horeb, a Congolese. They're taking me across the border. One side, Rwanda. Hotels, paved roads, internet, and paperwork to be filled out. Just a few feet of barbed wire, machine guns, and cement walls away, this. Welcome to Goma. A city of 1 million, a significant number of whom are IDPs, internally displaced people, sitting rather inconveniently at the base of Mount Nyiragongo, a still smoldering volcano. Current street level is about 12 feet above where it was in January 2002 when it last erupted. Lava everywhere, which explains the less than smooth ride. One of the first things you notice out the car window, the UN. About 4 months ago, the M23, one of the various rebel groups holed up in the jungle nearby, invaded the city. The NGOs battened down the hatches. The UN stood by, hands tied. Everyone else had to fend for themselves until the rebels withdrew. The Congo is a place I've dreamed of visiting since before I ever thought I'd get the chance to travel the world.
Close your door.
Actually being here, I'm not so sure. Dan, Horeb, and I head for a local restaurant. Good food is going to be a challenge soon, so we take the opportunity to fill up on what we can. Grilled chicken, ugali, piri-piri pepper. A pretty nice meal.
Goma in the 50s, you know, tourists used to come from as far down as Rhodesia, up here to vacation.
Amazing wildlife. Also, I remember in my childhood, seeing lions just alongside of the road sometime. Goma was a touristy place for a long time.
They're not coming anymore?
No.
No, you're just saying no.
It's a red zone.
It's looking like there won't be house-to-house fighting or artillery or mortars dropping into Goma. Was today a good day?
Well, right now we have a rebel group just 10 kilometers north of us.
Right.
And then we have maybe 7 other rebel groups that are all caught in the blender, you know? So
things change quickly in Congo.
Confused yet? Virtually all of the eastern part of the country is being contested by rebel groups, some local and others allegedly acting on behalf of interests based in neighboring countries. Recently, the largely Tutsi Rwandan-backed M23 has been active in the area around Goma, but the mostly Hutu FDLR is also here. The Mai Mai can refer to either somewhat generic local self-defense groups or specific entities like APCLS or Cheka. Some groups like the FRPI are principally defending a stake in a resource like gold, and others, like the Rea Motomboki, are mainly interested in fighting with a particular enemy. In their case, they have a beef with the FDLR. And lots of other organizations controlling territory who haven't come up with a name or a cool acronym yet. This is only a fraction of the rebel groups in a single area of the Congo. And be advised, this map was hopelessly outdated before we even got here.
it's all these variables kind of knotted into one big mess. And these are the reasons why media has a difficult time, why the Western world doesn't hear much about Congo. Because how can you sum it up in a 3-minute report?
But for us, Goma is just a stopover on the way to the Congo River. So we need to keep moving. And roads, forget it. Certainly nothing even remotely safe between Goma and where we're headed.
We're flying to Kisangani. This is the preferred route.
So we've chartered a bush plane, formerly Queen Elizabeth's flying wardrobe. When the Queen traveled, presumably in her younger years, Her clothes followed in this beast, or so we're told.
I have not seen this model of plane before. A first for me.
Of course, you'll learn to take nothing for granted in the Congo.
Uh-oh.
Just as we're about to take off, thunder, lightning.
I don't see what the problem is. Weather looks fine to me.
Let's get this thing airborne.
To wait this one out a little bit. Crashes are pretty commonplace. Not so long ago, a plane with nearly 100 people on board went down on the same route we're taking today.
No, most planes that crash in Congo crash because of the weather, right?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah, but...
Not us. Don't worry.
Impossible, man.
The weather clears up, sort of. So we decide to give it a go.
When the weather is very bad, stay on the ground. That's all.
What about rebels? They shooting at the planes?
No, normally no. Okay, we'll see you after your trip.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good one.
Lifting off from Goma, we head out over the shores of Lake Kivu before circling back northeast. Our destination, what Conrad referred to in Heart of Darkness as the Inner Station. Here, surrounded by dense jungle, lies our rendezvous with the Congo River, a waterway responsible for both building this country and helping to destroy it. Two hours out of Goma, we land at Kisangani. This was once Stanleyville, and the country's second largest city, before war and neglect cut it off from the rest of the Congo and the world.
Stanleyville, known in Heart of Darkness as the Inner Station.
The Congo River stretches across the country's middle. Conrad describes it as a twisting snake with its head in the Atlantic Ocean and its tail buried deep in Africa's heart. To Europeans, it was a natural route to transport slaves, ivory, rubber, minerals, the commodities upon which modern-day Brussels and Antwerp are built. For the Congolese, both before and after the Belgians, it provided more basic things. Water, to wash, to clean your clothes in, to cook with, to drink. Also fishing. Since long before the expeditions of Dr. Livingstone and Henry Morton Stanley, the Wagenya tribe has been fishing the river in unique fashion. Highly coordinated and acrobatic, the Wagenya dive into the treacherous rapids of what is still referred to as Stanley Falls. Navigate downstream between baskets that need tending. Perched on a precarious network of wooden poles, they hoist together. The catch these days? Not much.
So this is the second biggest falls in this Congo River.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ogi is a Wagenya fisherman and was a guide bringing tourists to his village. Since the last two wars, Kisangani tourism has been pretty much non-existent. Chief of the Wagenya, Pierre Mosala Abeka, it is said, is a direct descendant of King Ntendebuma Ifila, who greeted Stanley in the 1870s.
Please thank him for the privilege of seeing his community.
It's a present from the chief. This is a way to welcome the delegation of CNN.
The Waginya tribe made what was in retrospect the mistake of allowing Stanley to pass. The famous explorer, of course, pretty much shot and raided his way along his historic route to the coast before effectively jump-starting the colonial period. Using Stanley as administrator, King Leopold of Belgium claimed the Congo as his personal property. Under Leopold's reign, men, women, and children were tagged with numbers, separated into groups, given production quotas. If they fell short, they were whipped with the shikot, their hands cut off, hanged. An estimated 10 million Congolese were either starved, worked to death, executed, or just killed where they stood, all in just over 20 years. By the end, half the population of the country was gone.
Have you ever thought about all those years ago, if your people had just killed Stanley?
Somebody else have to come.
Somebody else would have come.
Ordinarily, a large tigerfish like this one, it's going to the market, considered way too valuable to eat. But today, guests.
It's a mean-looking fish.
She used to sell fish in the market.
The Congolese standard, limboke. It can be pretty much anything wrapped in a banana leaf and steamed.
Typical traditional.
Excellent meal. A lot of work. Though it looks like they're not having an entirely miserable time of it. The water looks good. On a good day, how many like this?
On a good day, 50.
50?
Yeah, 50. That time, two ancestors. Ancestors didn't use to catch this. They just catch the big fish. One basket like this, they used to catch about 10 big fish. But situation changed. The tourists used to come and see how the fishermen are catching fish.
Right, hundreds of them used to come, yes?
Yeah.
Well, things get a little better here. Maybe they come back.
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
After Leopold, the Belgian government took over and pretty much continued as before. An apartheid-like system of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. By the 50s, there was a beautiful modern infrastructure built. Railroads, hotels, sports clubs, schools. The envy of Africa. Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn were here while filming The African Queen. They stayed at the luxury hotel, the Pourquoi Pas. This is the Pourquoi Pas now. Like everything else of that time, a hollow ruin inhabited by squatters or simply eaten by the jungle. But none of this was ever for the Congolese. They weren't allowed in many of these buildings except as help. Not even allowed to walk their own streets after dark. Not a lot of dependable electric power left in the city. But what lights do glow around town, much of it comes from places like this. Small kiosks serving the Congolese version of barbecue and what passes for cold beer. Christian is one of our fixers, tasked with keeping us on track and out of trouble. Which, believe me, is a big job around here.
You know, it's an amazing looking city. If you just blur your vision a little bit, you can see it the way it used to be.
Beautiful. I think it could be the best place to live. Very kind people. People like listening to music, sitting, taking their beers, eating.
What's a Congolese word for barbecue?
Barbecue.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like any meat on a grill. It's looking good.
Grilled goat with kabri, a traditional goat stew on the side.
Now we're talking.
They roast it and then they put some sauce on it.
That's delicious.
As you can see, people don't eat meat. Meat is quite expensive, almost $2.
Which is a lot. That's more than most people make in a day or even 2 days. What are the first things you buy if you're very, very, very poor?
Very poor, soap.
Soap.
Yeah. Because at least you have to look a bit clean.
So soap first. Soap.
But in between, as Congolese, you got to think of dressing, looking smart, clothes. All these Congolese you can see here,
right.
If you give them $10, they'll think of at least buying soap or food and keep maybe $1 to buy a shirt.
So that's called pride.
Yeah. And there's hope.
You can plan for tomorrow.
For tomorrow.
In Heart of Darkness, Conrad writes about the greed of the Belgian colonizers. They grabbed what they could get for the sake of what was to be got. It was just robbery with violence, aggravated murder on a great scale. And after 75 years, the Congolese had had enough. But independence came quickly. And when the new country managed to inaugurate their first democratically elected leader, Patrice Lumumba, the CIA and the British, working through the Belgians, had him killed. We helped to install this miserable bastard in his place, Joseph Mobutu. He stole billions of dollars from his people and pretty much became the template for despotism in Africa. Needless to say, this situation deteriorated over the next 30-odd years. And by the time Mobutu was done, the Congo was mired in a series of civil wars, the government was no longer paying its bills, and the trains basically stopped running. This is Kisangani Station. There's one short run left. Service once a week when operational, which isn't often, I'm guessing. Abandoned by the Belgians, shot up and stripped by rebels in the 90s. The station, the engines, the ancient passenger cars, and the tracks themselves have slowly receded into the jungle. And yet all these years later, with hardly any resources, Monsieur Aloub Emile, the railway administrator, and a staff of clerks, conductors, mechanics, and engineers show up at work and do what they can in an attempt to keep things in working order.
How do you do?
He said that you are welcome to see this place.
How many employees still work here?
Ici, pendant les temps normal, nous sommes dans les 500 agents. Mais pour le moment, nous sommes dans les 200.
So at one time, you could dispatch a freight to South Africa?
Oui, justement, vous pouvez quitter ici jusqu'en Afrique du Sud, avec des correspondances évidemment.
So a hypothetical question. If the government said, okay, we're ready, we have the money, we would like to, as quickly as possible, get operational. Does he have the workers ready to go?
Oui, parce que si nous roulons aujourd'hui, c'est suite aux compétences humaines que nous avons. Parce que tout est presque bousillé. Mais ce sont des intelligences humaines qui essaient de maintenir le peu que nous avons. En tout cas, si on nous donnait encore un apport technique moderne, là, carrément, nous sautons.
And this is one of the few things here that's working today. A feature of great pride to the staff. The railway employees, I'm told, do not get paid, yet they continue to show up and work. It is said of the building of the country's once vast rail network, one Congolese died for every single tie. Like many Congolese we meet, they are, all these years later, and in spite of everything that's happened, ready and waiting for the situation to improve. You lost your way on that river as you would in a desert, till you thought yourself bewitched and cut off forever from everything you had known once. So Conrad described the Congo after piloting steamships in the early days of Belgian colonialism.
I've had something of a multi-decade obsession with the Congo. It's been kind of a personal dream, if you will, to travel the Congo River. And now, for better or worse, I get that chance. We've rented a trusty vessel, and I shall dub thee the Captain Willard. All right, did you maggots load the chickens?
Finding food along the way, it's anticipated, will be a challenge. Refrigeration of any kind is impossible.
Okay, well, I'm psyched. My dream has finally come true. Blocked by officials? Well, this could be months. Okay, let the probing begin.
We need this boat to move now. How do we do this?
Let's get underway before they figure a new tax to levy on us.
Our trip downriver will take us some 120 kilometers, even deeper into the jungle. But instead of Kurtz and his ivory hoard, a crumbling Belgian research center with a shadowy past awaits us at our destination.
It's the turn of the century map, so as Kisangani was then called Stanleyville. Leopoldville, that would be here.
Yeah, like 3,000 kilometers or something like that.
A long way to go if we were taking the full ride.
That's what we're doing, right?
All the way to the Atlantic?
You didn't tell them yet?
I don't think we have enough spam, gentlemen.
A half-day's journey downriver, there's a local dignitary we've promised to visit.
Yeah, there's the chief who's coming down.
We arrive, late, but the king is still waiting for us. Traditional headgear, not so traditional suit. The medals given by the Belgians, proving his royal lineage.
This place belongs to the Bambole ethnic group.
And he's the king?
Donc, yo vraiment za mokonzi ya ekolo na yo nyonso. My father ruled from 1928, and I came after him in 1963.
It's a lot of history. Incredible.
We give him a goat as a way of saying, I'm sorry for being so late, and sorry we can't stay longer. and he gives me a simple yet hefty-looking bracelet, which only later do I come to appreciate for what it is.
Horan told me this goes back to Arab Portuguese times. It was the Arabs who taught them how to do this. So they wear them on their wrists or their ankles. This is older than our story, probably. The chief said his father gave it to him in 1935. So who knows, man? Wow. So where'd you get the bracelet? Oh, an African king gave it to me. Congo River. Where'd you get yours?
We've come a long way downriver, but with many kilometers still to go, attention is turned towards the evening meal. I figure I'll make coq au vin, which is a pretty simple way of dealing with a bunch of tough, old, stringy birds in one pot.
Getting close to killie time. Moment of truth.
It's quickly getting dark, and I'm very aware of a number of things.
How did they usually kill chickens?
Small knife.
A small knife, cut the head off.
Our chickens are thin, scraggly, and tough.
Ah, he's biting me.
In order to make anything, any kind of edible, I'm probably gonna have to stew the crap out of them. But first, we gotta kill these things and collect their blood, which if you know anything about chickens, and most of my crew don't, takes time.
I'll hold the bucket, you kill the chicken.
You wanna eat? You gotta kill your own chicken and pluck it too.
Time to get killing.
But every man has a breaking point. And in retrospect, perhaps this was ours.
Saw harder.
Harder, you're almost through.
Oh, I'm not. Killing him, Tom. Stuck. Clean kill. Clean kill.
Now you can join our treehouse.
By the time our birds are cleaned and plucked, the sun is down and dinner is still a long way off.
Eat up the chickens. It's time to kill chickens.
Somewhere down the Congo River, and I'm continuing to deal with a few pressing concerns. The one knife on board is as sharp, really, as a soup spoon. And soon I'm frantically trying to rip out the backbone and guts in one go with my bare hands because the knife ain't shit, and it's getting darker and darker, and the damn generator keeps kicking out.
And I really need a light so I can see what I'm cutting. I can't cut what I can't see.
There's only 3 light bulbs on right now.
There's only 240 watts. There's no way it's the draw.
They're not going to eat at all. I'm never going to get through with this.
Machete?
No, maybe we should figure out how to cook dinner, unless you don't want to eat any dinner. Because we are really not going to eat any dinner tonight. Okay, I've had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I would like to eat, especially as we've gone through all of this misery with these chickens. All right, there's machete.
It would be apropos to point out that we do not want to be moving at night. We would not like to run aground in the middle of the freaking Congo.
He's gonna swim in now.
He's worried about Crocs?
I can't see anything.
The currents unpredictable. Visibility nil. Time to tie up for the night. Generator issues more or less fixed, but now another just as serious problem presents itself. With the lights burning, it becomes insanely buggy. Crush the wrong one of these moths while swatting your face, and you will blow up like a balloon. Seriously.
Okay, take the other 2 bottles of wine. You pour all 3 bottles of wine into the onions. All right, let's put the top on, bring it up to a boil.
3 hours later, and it looks like the jungle-style stew might actually work out after all.
Okay, someone wants to bring this over carefully to the table. All right, let's eat. À table. Bon appétit. Bon appétit.
In the end, my coq au vin was a bit scraggly, but passable. It is written that I should be loyal to the nightmare of my choice. I think I now understand what that means. Next morning on the river, and of course, we're not alone. Fishermen from all the surrounding villages have heard of us and have, long before we're even awake, come by to check us out.
Hey, you ever find a couple of onions for me? Don't go crazy. If we don't have, we don't have.
I will not go crazy.
All right, I will get on the spam and egg patrol. We may have invented the stealth bomber. Really, this will be our crowning accomplishment as a culture.
Get in there, boys.
Once we finally get there, we still have to get all the way back.
Coming back was never part of the plan, man. We're not coming back.
Yeah, they'll find us 10 years later, naked in the bush with like a necklace of spam cans. That was glorious.
Time to get back out on the river. We have places to go. 2 days down the Congo, we're finally nearing our destination.
It's an abandoned Belgian research station. And it's still functioning in some capacity, but the Ngambi itself goes about 30 kilometers in. There's over 250 buildings. They're doing it all here.
Much myth and legend surrounds this place.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
It has been inferred by some that the Belgians conducted uranium enrichment and a host of bizarre experiments here. However, the facts would suggest the scariest thing to ever happen here, some genetically modified banana varietals.
You made it, man. Ngambi.
Deep in the jungle and miles from anywhere, this was once the Institute for Agricultural Studies of Congo. Construction began in the 1930s. The complex was once staffed by hundreds of Belgian researchers, doctors, and engineers until they left hurriedly in 1960. With independence began a rapid decline. The eventual cessation of funding. Of the hundreds of structures built here, what used to be housing, laboratories, hospitals, and research facilities, the vast complex's library is clearly the most important to those who remain. Though crumbling like everything else, the grass is cut and grounds maintained. It's swept and kept clean. And yet, most incredibly, this man, Kisangani Bourdain, still fights a daily battle to stave off further decay to the thousands of volumes of books and research materials contained on these shelves.
So what happened here? Did the place stay open? Did people continue to do research?
There's some new staff, they don't get anything. But for those who have been there for long, they get an allowance from the government.
Independence comes. What happens here?
Les Blancs sont partis. La plupart ont trouvé qu'il ne fallait pas rentrer directement à chose. Comme l'INEAC continuait à œuvrer au Rwanda et Burundi, la plupart ont traversé de l'autre côté.
So, unless I'm mistaken, the gentleman just said that cutting-edge research moved to Burundi and elsewhere. The Congolese who remained, their mission all these years later has been to preserve the patrimony that existed.
All this was state-of-the-art back in the 50s when the library was built. But for 20 years, there hasn't been electricity to run the dehumidifiers to keep out the damp.
Through so many wars, through all of these difficulties, he has maintained this facility to an extraordinary degree. Why?
Pour m'avoir maintenu.
Pourquoi? Parce que
C'est ainsi qu'aujourd'hui on m'appelle doyen. On m'appelle doyen à cause de ça, parce que si je ne suis pas là, rien ne marchera plus, parce que je suis déjà connaisseur de tout cela.
Staff still show up to work and organize, catalog, and write requests for funding. Perhaps to Kinshasa or a central office where someone may or may not ever respond.
He was here pre-independence, yes? Yeah. Does he remember the Belgian rule?
Non, non, là c'était bien, justement. Est-ce que nous on savait qu'il y aurait un changement de vie? Parce que c'était bien, justement. Hein?
No, yeah, he remembers that period of colonial. Right. That was the best time that they were living.
What do you say to someone who suggests that Belgian colonialism might have been the good times? The road home, such as it is. Rotting bridges, makeshift ferries. It's an adventure. Fortunately, ours was a good adventure. The Congo is a place that's always fascinated me. This is a trip I've been wanting to take since I've been writing stories or making television. But what I found was something unexpected. I met a lot of people who, for a long time, have been waiting, hoping for things to get better. A lot more hope here than there's any right to expect. When all is said and done, I wanted to go to the Congo, and I did.